and thank you for joining in, and welcome to the Serco contribution to the pathways. I'm going to share my screen because I've got a presentation that I'd like to use today. And as Rebecca said, I'll start off with about the first 10 or 15 minutes, and then Colin will take over from there, and then Lisa will be our voice of reason at the end to answer any of your curly questions about specific HR and recruitment initiatives. So this is an overview of what we're going to cover today. I'll start off by giving you an overview of Serco and who we are and what we do. I'll include some description around some of the current partnerships we have with ex-service organisations, not-for-profits, the educational sector and the like. I'll give you an overview of our geographic footprint, and then I'll hand over to Colin at that point, and he'll cover some specific issues around employment with Serco and some of the stats of ASPAC. And then we'll have a brief case study at the end. We've got a couple of videos to break up the presentation today to hopefully give you some sound and light and movement, which might be a little bit more exciting than our droll voices. So, without further ado, we will move forward to the next. At Serco, we are a company that is very strong on values. We have 4 values. You can see them on the right-hand side of the screen there. The first and our most important value is trust. As you'd all know, it takes a long time to build trust. That's within the company, with our employees, with our suppliers and our customers. It doesn't take long to lose trust. And so we stand by our promises, we all take responsibility, and we always act with integrity. Secondly, we care, and we try and make a difference every day to people, how we work and what we do to support them. We try to be compassionate and inclusive and go the extra mile. We also we aim to be innovative in everything we do. We're trying to question how we do things. Are there better ways to do it that might make our workplace more safe, or indeed make better outcomes for the customer or the community? So we're always striving to learn and improve. And last but not least, we're an organisation that celebrates what we do. We respect one another. We have a diverse workforce and a diverse customer base, but we're very proud to make a difference every day, and we're passionate. I'm Serco and proud. A bit of an overview of the company. We essentially provide services to local, state and federal government. And in my case and Colin's case, we're in the defence part of the business, but Serco is not solely a defence prime. We work across all sectors of government within Australia and in fact around the globe. Over 60,000 employees internationally and about 12,000 in Australia, providing a range of government services. We are an organisation that is proud to support veterans, veterans' families and serving members' families, and also reservists from Army, Navy and Air Force. And we have a number of favourable policies to support that, and Colin will touch on those a little later on. We're a member of the Prime Minister's Industry Advisory Committee on Veterans Employment, and we take an active role in discussing with members of the Department of Veterans Affairs and Department of Defence on how they can support members transitioning from full-time or reserve service out into the workplace. And as a potential employer, we aim to support that and provide advice to improve the government policy. And as Rebecca alluded to at the start, we're very proud to become a Platinum Pledge partner again this year with Soldier On, which we've been associated with for a number of years. We have developed a skills translator to ensure that skills that many members of Defence, or all members of Defence, accrue in their time of service. The Department of Defence provides great training, education and experiential learning on the job for members of the 3 services, whether people are regular or reserve. But sometimes people that are in the services don't necessarily have an easy way to translate their skill sets across into how industry would interpret that. And so we've developed a tool to help individuals translate the skills that they have acquired during their service into things that might be useful in discussing prospective employment opportunities with industry. Also, we're proud to be a signatory of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Australian Defence Force in support of Defence Reservists. We signed that agreement about 3 years ago. We are proud, as I said, it's one of our values. We're proud last year to be a finalist in the 2019 Defence Connect Australian Defence Industry Awards for our Veteran Support Program, and we've nominated again in 2020, and we're waiting to see whether we're a finalist in that category again. And we're also honoured with recognition of our support from the Defence Reserve Support Council. We have quite a number of partnerships, formal and informal, with ex-service organisations, employment organisations, education, vocation and training organisations, and you can see them listed on the slide there. I won't read them all out because I'm sure you can all read, and I'll just pause for a moment while you absorb that. Now, there's a lot of information on this slide, so I'll just walk you through it. The detail is not really essential, but we are a part of a large global network. There are 4 divisions in the network, so there's Serco, Europe and UK and Europe, United Kingdom and Europe, Serco Middle East, Serco North America, and last but not least, Serco Asia Pacific. In total, over 60,000 employees across the globe. In Serco Asia Pacific, as you can see, we have 34 contracts, 22 customers operating over 20 locations nationally and in New Zealand and Hong Kong, and some 12,000 employees. We work, as I said earlier, not just in the defence sector. We work in justice and immigration, where we run a range of prisons for state and federal government and immigration detention centres. In the health sector, we provide logistic support for hospitals, and in citizen services, we have a range of different services around call centres for federal and state governments. We do Melbourne Parks and Gardens, we do the Australian Defence Force Garrison Health Contract, and we do traffic camera services for the Victorian Government. So a very wide range across different sectors. Within defence, we provide a large amount of support to the Royal Australian Navy through the Fleet Marine Services contract, through their medical and dental logistics contract, through the Typhoon contract. A little known but a significant piece of work is we have a contract with the Australian Antarctic Division to build Australia's new icebreaker. That icebreaker has just been completed in being built in Romania and is going through final trials, and it will sail to Australia in the first quarter of next year, and we'll deliver, and then we'll operate and maintain that icebreaker for the next 30 years, supporting the Antarctic Division. So a large range of support services, therefore a large quantity of job opportunities, both permanent and casual. And then, as you can see from the map, pretty well every part of Australia has some form of coverage. Now, there's lots of acronyms on there, and if someone has a question later on about any specific location or specific acronym, happy to take those. But the main message from this map is that we have Serco employees in all states of Australia, and in some cases in multiple parts on multiple contracts. So there is a wide range of opportunities for people transitioning from defence or veterans who are looking for employment. Okay, I'm going to now hand over to Colin.
Thank you, Andy. So the opportunities with Serco, employment opportunities. Serco employees do make a positive difference to people every day. We go through our call centres, through the management of the way we provide services to defence, and also when we're looking after detainees and prisoners. We have a lot of fantastic programs in the prison system where we make difference to people's lives. Okay, Serco is a business where people are valued, and it matters. So, we care about our people, we look after our people, we have plenty of great programs, and we also care about the values that we provide. Okay, we have a strong public service focus, so we deliver a lot of services to the public for the government, and that's our main focus. So we do have a strong public service ethos and work for the public. Okay, we recognise the unique skills and experience people bring to our organisation, and commit to providing opportunities to learn and grow. So, you may come in with a certain skill set, but Serco provides a number of training packages and a number of leadership packages, depending on where you come in at, and provide you the opportunity to move forward, and if not, change your career. Okay. As a business, we deliver frontline to the public. Okay, employing a lot of people around the world. Okay, our skills are needed to provide good leadership. Few companies can offer many opportunities for people to grow in their career, and I've been a recipient of that opportunity. Thanks. Next. Yeah. So Andy talked about the skills, the transferable skills, and the skills translator, which I was fortunate enough to work on. So we look at all the different types of areas that people come from. Not only if you're a senior leader or a junior leader, we just look for leadership, okay, the management skills, and where they fit into our organisation. Okay, we understand that defence people have a good experience with leading technology, the way the Defence Force is moving, and providing new technology for protection of Australia. We understand all that technology, and we are working within that, trying to work within that business, and we need that experience to come to us. Administration, that's a basic of every person that works anywhere, especially in the Defence Force. You're always looking after your own personal administration. Business, even though people don't think defence or being working within the Defence Forces is a business, it is. Okay, it's more business orientated than a lot of people think, and we appreciate the experience that people bring. Communications is through every sector. Okay, healthcare, we deliver healthcare through the ADF Health contract with our partner Bupa, and in citizen services. And we also use it in our prison systems because we run medical centres and that as well. Our hospitality in the healthcare, so if you understand, it has a large component, has a large kitchen, okay, and delivers food to all the patients. Also in our justice and immigration, our prisons have large kitchens, and we teach skills there. So and also in our immigration centres that we have provide food for the detainees. Next, thanks. Okay, human resources. Okay, it's an area where everyone, and this is one of Lisa's specialties. Information and communication technology is changing. Defence has a great skill set in that area, and we're always looking for good people that comes up. Okay, logistics. Obviously, Andy's spoken about his logistics capabilities. Security. That's the Defence Force's business, and that's what we are after. And our main areas are in defence and the justice and immigration. And trades, we have an FM component. Always looking for good trade people to deliver our trade services. Thanks, Andy. Okay, increasing access. accessibility, making employment opportunities as accessible as possible to the ADF personnel through our partnerships with Soldier On. It's been increasing. When we started a couple of years ago, it's very live, and now we're almost joined at the hip, getting these jobs through. Not only for ADF personnel, but for their spouses. It's a whole approach. Providing candidates that we need, so we're looking for the right roles, people to be put into the right positions, and enabling. So we include mobile online applications and pre-interview coaching. That's what Soldier On provide to us, which helps the candidate be more successful. Success profiles, so we ensure that when we are recruiting, we understand that the people's skill set, which the translator helps with, and we're actually employing the right person and giving the ADF member a greater opportunity to gain a new career, and enabling support people to provide to present during interviews as required. Next, Andy. Okay. I'll actually let Lisa take on this one. We spoke about this before. She's much more equipped to discuss this area.
Thank you, Colin. Hello, everybody. So Serco also are very invested in the disability employment sector in terms of supporting our candidates that have various disabilities into employment with our organisation. So we do, look at and revise the tasks of the roles, and I guess what the actual limitations are and disabilities that our candidates may have when they're coming to apply for employment with Serco. So we do actually have a very comprehensive and innovative approach to optimising recruitment in this area. So therefore, we have established really solid working relationships with a number of job active agencies that specialise in this sector. We also have our teams on site, in particular within our citizen services contract. As an example, we have certainly the opportunity to bring people with certain disabilities through, for, whether it be visionary, auditory, or actual, access issues. So we really do invest in that, particularly within our contact centre environment and other types of roles as well. We also do take a focus on the leadership development area, which basically enables our leadership stakeholders to ensure that they can offer development and be involved in that side of things. We also report on our diversity and inclusion employment stats as well, so that we understand as a business across all of our contracts exactly where our candidates are coming from. And as an example, certainly we're very interested in the portion of our employees that do associate themselves with coming through as ex-veterans or Army reservists as well. We also certainly have an ongoing commitment to ensure that we do bring candidates through that can work within certain roles that have been identified that do have a disability as well. So I'll hand back over, I think, at this point.
Thanks for that, Lisa. Appreciate it. So during the COVID-19 startup, there was a lot of demand on the public services, and Serco was fortunate enough to work with the government so we could expedite recruitment for various centres, and through this it was investment in technology. We optimised our recruiting process. Okay, we developed and had an online application to optimise the smart use of our of the applicants. Online video interviewing, which was very successful, and it was basically ran 24/7, and people could actually do that from the comfort of their home instead of getting on a bus or a train, travelling into the office or into a centre. and then walking through the public and getting interviewed, and then doing the return travel. So this was very successful, and it was great. Online assessments, so providing an experience for the candidates and making sure, and the onboarding process with the recruitment forms and all that was completed online, which was very successful. And we were required to onboard about 1,500 people during the ramp up of the first stage of COVID, and it went very smoothly. So yeah, that was good. The use of technology in that way was fantastic. So thanks. Yep. Okay, next one. Okay, let's see if this works. Thanks for that, Andy. Yeah, I just want to have a quick update on that video we just saw and why we want to work for Serco. A lot of great activities out there that we undertake. I've worked in a number of those areas, and I knew, especially from the west, I knew most of those people. So very exciting place to work. That video is most probably done every couple of years, and it's a fantastic presentation to show exactly how Serco works in the Asia Pacific area. Okay, Lisa, would you like just to brief this slide?
Sure. So in terms of the our reporting dashboard indicates that we have, which is really pleasing, seen around 545 ex-defence, or certainly candidates and who are now employees, identified as ex-defence personnel, which is great. So the concentration levels are shown here on the slide. As you can see, the representation across the country is split in certain, I guess, percentages that are probably indicative of the number of Defence Force personnel that are particularly stationed in areas such as Queensland, for example. I know in the justice and immigration space that I normally work in, we do have a lot of representation from Queensland for ex-defence personnel, which is really pleasing. And they to see their careers flourish within the roles where they've come in to start and then move either upwards or across into other contracts has also been really great to see their journeys. We also have, of course, a vested interest in the volunteer reservists. Serco not only actively encourage reservist applicants, but certainly support their leave as well as reservists when they need to take that time out across the year, which is really pleasing, and that certainly helps to build, I guess, that value proposition for them to come in and work with Serco. You can see the breakdown there. There has been, I guess, evidence of that support where there's been over 7,500 hours of Defence Force leave, which has been approved across the year since July 19. And once again, there's representation there of the percentages broken down by state. It's also pleasing to see that there is, good evidence of gender breakdown there with the engagement that we have with the ex-Defence Force and reservist personnel, where you can see the male and female breakdown that we engage with.
Right. Thanks, Lisa. So Serco's support to reservists, we provide 10 days of leave, paid leave for reservists. Now, when I first started in the organisation and prior to me getting involved in this program, that was only 3 days. A lot of work went in and consultation went in to actually increase that to 10 days, which is a great success story for internal consultation and the willingness of the CEO at the time to approve those additional days for active reservists. Also, we've adapted our framework, so ADF spouses of ADF members who the member goes on deployment, we've provided additional leave with negotiation and also flexible working arrangements. So that takes the stress off the spouse when they're the sole parent or the sole person at home looking after the family while the ADF member is away overseas, which I think is a great initiative by the business. And as previously said, from the 1920 period, Serco approved 530 days of paid leave and 433 days of unpaid leave. And it's not only that, but it's for the emergency services as well, so firefighters and people like that. A bit of a case study there. I'll just briefly go over it. So Ben, he's sorry. Yeah. So Ben is a DSO or detainee service officer in Darwin. He was previously in the army, served there. He enlisted when he was 17, spent 5 years, in there. and decided to discharge. Then he got a job with Serco. Then he I think he actually transferred to North Force, which is an Army Reserve unit up in Northern Territory, and he's still able to work, and we provided him leave and internet, and that leave, the new leave policy was allowing him to contribute back to the Australian Defence Force. So, and Serco supervisors were very supportive of his actions undertaken with the Army, and provided a lot of support and arranging his shifts to allow to meet his defence needs. So, next, thanks. Okay, so Serco support to the nation during the bushfires of 1920. Okay, one obviously worst on record, a lot of catastrophic scale. Serco not only looked after their reservists, they allowed them to go and volunteer into assist with the firefighting efforts, and also the with the volunteer firefighters. Okay, we also were used to mobilise the Navy. So when they had to go down to Victoria to get those people off the beach, our FMSC contract was part of that, to get the vessels ready, get them serviceable, get them out over the Christmas period. We had people coming off leave, and that Med and Dent team came back, so all the first aid kits that was assembled, made sure the equipment that they were taking with them was serviceable and stuff like that. So a lot of good work done there by the team there. The out of health contracts, the service we provide there, the people volunteered to come back off their leave early, reopen the Army bases, because over the Christmas period, bases shut down, very limited service, but people volunteered, come back, help with the evacuations, got the med centres up and running, and provide the medical services needed to support the defence in their disaster relief activities. And Department of Human Resources, okay, they needed help to man more call centres and support for bushfire recovery, and Serco was engaged, and we certainly got into that, and that was part of the recruitment that we needed. Here's a great example of how one of our staff worked during the bushfires. So this particular admin officer, she worked at Acacia, which is in WA in Perth. She travelled over to New South Wales as part of the volunteer fire crew, okay, Team Bravo, and she worked tirelessly. She'd been a volunteer for 15 years, and is currently a leader, first lieutenant in her brigade. Okay, she spent 5 days working on the fire grounds, with very little food and sleep. So, as one of our things is pride, okay, and caring, that certainly brings that example out to the forefront, and that was real, well done by her. Okay, thank you. Lisa, I'll let you talk through this one.
Thank you, Colin. So in terms of the ease of finding out about opportunities at Serco, we have just on display there the website for our ASPAC, or Asia Pacific Careers, which basically is very easy to navigate through, but whether it be by location or keyword search by job function. All of our jobs across the network and across contracts are certainly advertised as they are active. So it is very easy to navigate, to just see what is on offer across the Australia and New Zealand. And certainly our talent acquisition team, of course, is always here to augment information for our ex-defence personnel or reservists, as they would like to know more about them. So we certainly encourage you beyond today to explore perhaps opportunities with the business, or, as I was saying, certainly ensure that we are here as a team. We have recruitment teams or talent acquisition teams that are actually based across the country. whether it be Adelaide, whether it be Sydney, whether it be Brisbane, whether it be Perth. So we're here to help in terms of assisting you with information about the different roles or what might be coming through the pipeline as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Before joining Serco Defence, I was in the Royal New Zealand Navy. I really enjoyed my career in the Navy and the jobs that I was doing, but I was looking for a change in lifestyle, looking to spend less time away from home and see my family a bit more in a more balanced routine. Serco Defence offered me the opportunity to use all the skills that I developed during my time in the Navy while offering that balanced lifestyle.
I'm deep sea marine engineer, so I used to go away on oil tankers and container carriers and bulk carriers all around the world. A job on a tug on the harbour took my fancy and I've loved it ever since. Best thing I ever did.
We're always doing something different every day. It's not a normal 9 to 5 job where you're sitting in front of a computer screen. It changes every day and that's what I love about it.
I work at HMAS Watson in the bridge simulator facility. So we've got 3 full mission bridges and I work within those bridges, training the Royal Australian Navy's junior officers in the roles that they will conduct at sea.
Our particular contract, the service we provide ranges from towage, which is my job, delivering fuel, passenger transfers, craneage. We have a crane barge. We maintain quite a number of naval buoys that the ships tie up to. We provide staging lighters. The Navy basically says to us, we want this at this time, and we do our best to make it happen. Fun and interesting sums up my role. Every day is different, so it's certainly not boring. It's certainly not mundane. It's exciting and there's always something new, and that's why I enjoy it so much.
I think they value ex-military personnel quite highly. Serco Defence have a lot of contracts involving military. You really do have to have had the experience and the knowledge from doing the job at sea to be able to pass on your knowledge.
Come and join Serco. It's great. There's lots of opportunities. It's a good team of people. We do something different every day, and it's a great place to turn up to in the morning.
So thank you. That concludes our presentation today. We hope that we've been informative. Obviously, it's a big company with lots of areas, so some of it may not be relevant to all of you. So we've given you an overview to get the maximum interest, and we're now available to take any questions. And if we can't answer your question right here and now, we'll take your details and get back to you. And likewise, if you don't want to ask your question publicly, we'll through Soldier On contact you via email to enable you to follow up with specific questions. So I'll pause now and we'll look forward to hearing from anyone.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Lisa. I think that was a great presentation from the participants that I work with from Soldier On. It gave, I think, me and for them a better understanding of the opportunities, like you said, with Serco. And I think increasingly important with the way the job market is at the moment during COVID and for the next sort of 24 months or so, just looking at the real opportunities that are available as they transition out of their Defence Force jobs. I did have one question that I get asked a lot is when talking about the skills translator, I get a lot of the defence as they're transitioning asking about, you know, do I have to have all my qualifications recognised before I make that transition into the civilian workforce? Does Serco recognise the services qualifications, or is there still their diligence around having those recognised prior to making that transition into Serco?
Yeah, that's a good question. I believe it would be on a case by case, depending on the qualification. Certainly, project manager is a project manager. It doesn't matter where you get the qualification from. I know that the defence, and I've been a recipient of them, do have a great RTO process, and they issue those certificates through. So they're acceptable, depending on transferable skills and stuff like that. So my belief is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, that as long as we can see the process being in place, I don't think that would be a real issue, unless it was a requirement by law.
Very true.
Yeah, that's a good question. I believe it would be on a case by case, depending on the qualification. Certainly, project manager is a project manager. It doesn't matter where you get the qualification from. I know that the defence, and I've been a recipient of them, do have a great RTO process, and they issue those certificates through. So they're acceptable, depending on transferable skills and stuff like that. So my belief is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, that as long as we can see the process being in place, I don't think that would be a real issue, unless it was a requirement by law.
Very true.
Or ex-reservists coming into Serco? So that's the first two questions that I will ask. Then I've got a follow-up after that. If you could please respond, if that makes sense.
So, Lan, just to confirm for the Serco team, so the ATS system as a transition process from dispense services to Serco, are you asking if that is recognised by Serco? No,
what I'm saying is when it comes to recruitment, most organizations use what they call ATS. When you submit your CV or you apply for a job, yes, they put some indicator and that will flesh it out. Serco has acknowledged that defense or ex-defense have a variety of skills, yes, which might not translate into the ATS system. So I'm trying to ask, how does Serco provide that service that circumvent the ATS from filling out ex-defense who might not have necessarily pinpoint instructions that they look for within the system?
Okay, so I can probably answer to a degree there. So as part of the service with Soldier On is in that interim or in that preparation process for the recruitment is that we look at your qualifications, as Colin discussed, and work with different organisations to help make those skills recognisable by Serco in their recruitment system. Okay, so I would work, a pathways officer from Soldier On would look at your qualifications and assist you in understanding of Serco's skill acquisition that they require, and either using an RTO to recognise or upskilling you, getting you to do some education to fill in those gaps. Lisa, is there anything else we need to add for that from the employer's point of view?
No, Rebecca, I think that I totally agree with you. I think it, aside from, the fact that it is on a case-by-case basis, our team working with Soldier On, and in addition to that, of course, directly with the candidate to understand what the translation of skills are with the role that's in scope, sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, but in terms of just the, the application itself, there is, I think it's just a fairly, I would describe it as a vanilla sort of approach. You're uploading your profile, your information, that sort of thing, and then I think that's where we dig down a little bit further when it comes to working with this particular sector in defence to ensure that we can really clearly understand the translation of skills into a role or the development required into the role that is being applied for.
Thank you, Lisa. Lan, are you happy with that answer?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if nobody else is there, I've got a last one which I'm going to ask regarding security clearance. I mean, I know most of the people that work with the Soldier Horn or people working with Serco Australia in defense mostly are Australians, but the kind of services that Soldier Horn provide is also for allied forces. So does Serco recognize that people that have come from overseas who has worked within defense overseas and hold clearance, how easy is it for them to be able to support that if there's a requirement that most Serco contract with defense require security clearance? Does Serco support people who might not be Australians, but who are Commonwealth citizens that have got security clearance back from their old country into defense employment within Serco?
I can answer that if you like. So thank you for the question, and you're quite right. A number of the contracts that we have with particularly the federal government require our employees to hold an Australian government security clearance or an equivalent from a foreign country. Ultimately, the level of clearance and who has to have it is a matter for the government. It's not normally a Serco decision, it's normally an Australian government decision as to who requires the clearance. And once that is stipulated in our contract, obviously we need to go and employ people that either have already got the clearance or have an ability to get one. And so as the prospective employer, what we would normally do is, as part of the interview process, consider what clearance the candidate has from what country, and then we would approach the Australian Government Security and Vetting Agency with the candidate's details, and they will normally then contact the home nation, if it's a foreign national, to verify that that clearance is in fact valid and correct. And at that point, the Australian Government Security Vetting Agency will make a decision as to whether they would support the candidate getting an Australian government clearance or they would operate off the foreign national clearance. And of course, that depends on which country the person comes from and what the level of government-to-government interaction is and the level of clearance required. So a little bit of a complex answer, but we do deal with foreigners who require clearances, particularly our Middle Eastern logistic-based services contract, which is in Dubai, supporting the Australian Defence Force. We have employees from a range of different countries that work on that contract, some of whom need a security clearance. I must say that it typically is through what's called the Five Eyes, so UK, Canada, US, and New Zealand, in addition to Australia. That arrangement, because of the sophisticated level of agreement between the 5 countries about security clearances, works relatively smoothly. Other countries can be more problematic because it's just harder to do background checks on people.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And the reason why I ask that is because I'm an ex-defense and I've come from the UK, which is the Five Eyes. I hold what they call a DV. I've got a DV. I'm here because my wife is Australian. I'm permanent resident. But the things that I get from the defense in general is you have to be Australian. That the system is set up in a way that automatically pull out those that are not Australian. So, hence through the Soldier On and the partnership, I think that might be a way to counteract that. So thank you for.
So it's not automatic, but if in your case, if you've got a UK clearance, current or recent, it's a relatively straightforward, but it is a bureaucratic process with the government for them, the Australian government, to contact the UK government to confirm the status, and if they're satisfied that the UK government has already done the appropriate level of checking to give you your clearance, it's normally reasonably straightforward.
Thank you.
But it takes time. It can take weeks and months.
That's okay.
It's government bureaucracy.
Everything's taking time at the moment. We just have to be patient, don't we, with this new way of learning and working, and the hybrid, and to be able to have a virtual conference like seminar like this across the whole of Australia within an hour on a Wednesday afternoon is pretty amazing. So thank God for technology. Thank the Defence for that. So and to Andy, Colin and Lisa, thanks for your time today and for your ongoing support of the veteran community. I know I pass that thanks on for all the veterans and transitioning Defence Force that I work with. I appreciate that. To those online today, there'll be a follow-up email just with, again, some information around the recruitment process for Serco, so for your better understanding again. And there's also a feedback form that will be shared between Serco and Soldier On, so that we can continually improve the services and the enablers and the reach out that we have to the veteran community. So if you could just take a couple of minutes of your time, I'll pop it into the chat here, the feedback form. It's an online form. It'll take you a couple of minutes to complete, and it'll also be on the email that will come to you this afternoon after we close out from here. So again, enjoy your Wednesday afternoons. To the Serco presenters today, much appreciate your time and efforts in sharing that information, and enjoy. Andrew, is there anything you needed to say in closing out today?
No, thanks for the opportunity. We're appreciative, and as Colin and I both said, we're veterans, and we've made the transition from service life into employment with Serco, and we both love working here, and it's great to share with people the opportunities, and so hopefully what we've said is helpful.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, Colin, and thank you, Lisa. I'm going to close out the meeting now, so enjoy your Wednesday afternoons and soldier on. Thank you.